You're a grown adult. You have a job. You have a family. You pay bills. You handle responsibilities, big responsibilities. But by the second your partner says something that feels like criticism, you are suddenly 5 years old again. You know that feeling, right? Your partner makes one comment, maybe they're just tired, maybe they're stressed, and suddenly you're either shutting down completely, hiding in silence, or lashing out with intensity that surprises even you, or desperately trying to fix it, or please them, make them happy, like your survival depends on it. And afterwards, you think, what just happened? Why did I react like that? Here's what actually happening. You're not overreacting. You're not being too much or too dramatic. And you're not broken. Your nervous system just got triggered back to a time when you actually were a child. Think about it. When you were young and your parent criticized you, ignored you, or withdrew their love in some way, that was a real threat. Children are completely dependent on their caregivers for survival. So when a parent was emotionally unavailable or critical or unpredictable, your little nervous system registered that as, I might not survive this. Your brain created a survival strategy. We call it Plan B. Maybe you learned to shut down and disappear to stay safe. Maybe you've learned to fight back to protect yourself. Maybe you've learned to be perfect, to please, to never make waves. But here is the thing, those strategies worked. They kept you safe when you were small and powerless. But now, you're not small anymore. You're not powerless. And your partner isn't your parent. But your nervous system doesn't know that. So when your partner does something that feels even remotely like what your parent did, when they withdraw or criticize or seem disappointed, your subcortical brain, the deep primitive part where all those childhood memories are stored, it doesn't say, this is my partner having a bad day. It says threat, danger, survival mode activated, threat, danger. And boom, you're 5 years old again, reacting with the same fear, the same panic, the same desperate need to make it stop. This is why you can't just get over it or calm down. This is why understanding intellectually doesn't make it stop. Insights don't help as much as we think they do. That's why you can know that your partner loves you and still feel terrified that they're going to leave. Because trauma, especially childhood related trauma, doesn't live in your thinking brain. It lives in your body, in your nervous system, in that deep subcortical brain. And you can talk about your childhood forever. You can understand exactly why you react the way you do. But until you discharge that activation from where it actually stored, you will keep reacting like a child when triggered. So what do you do about it? This is where brain spotting comes in. Brain spotting doesn't work through talking or understanding. It goes straight to the deep subcortical brain where those childhood survival responses are stored. And here's how it works. We identify a specific eye position, we call the brain spot, that connects directly to where you're holding on to that childhood activation in your body. Maybe it's the fear of abandonment that lives in your chest. Maybe it's the shame that sits in your throat. Maybe it's the panic that makes your stomach tight. And when you focus on that spot while turning into your sensations, your brain starts processing. Not by talking, but not by understanding, but by releasing it. Your nervous system finally gets to discharge what's been holding onto since you were a little girl or a little boy. That threat response that made you shut down and that the survival strategy that made you fight back, they are slowing down. The fear that made you try to be perfect, it's melting. After brain spotting, clients tell me, I can actually hear feedback without spiraling. I don't panic when my partner needs space anymore. I feel like an adult in my relationship for the first time. Not because, excuse me, this light keeps turning off. Not because they just talked about this, right? But because they finally released this emotional childhood wounds from where they were stuck. So if you find yourself reacting like a child in your adult relationships, if you shut down or lash out or desperately try to please, if you know it's connected to a childhood but talking about it hasn't helped, it's not because you're not trying hard enough. It's because you are trying to solve a subcortical problem with a cortical solution. Brainspotting meets you where the trauma actually lives, and it helps your nervous system finally let it go. So if you're ready to stop reacting from your childhood wounds and start showing up as an adult you are, book your free consultation call with me. Let's see if Brainspotting is right for you. Because you deserve to have relationships where you feel safe, where you can be present, where you don't have to be that scared child anymore. You're not broken. You're not too much. You're not overreacting. You're just carrying something that doesn't belong to you anymore. And it's time to let it go.